We are now on page 41 of Coding for Beginners using Scratch. We just finished page 40 and we had added some instructions for coding the ball, and it looks like I left one instruction off. We're also supposed to make it point towards the paddle, so point towards should be added right here, and we want it to point towards the paddle down here. Okay. So it will start moving towards the paddle. It'll point towards the paddle once at the beginning, and then after that it is going to we're going to continue to move it down. Okay, so and we're going to do that until we bump into the paddle, at which time the bounce message will be broadcast and we will intercept that message. So we need to do a repeat until, and so we're going to keep moving until we hit the bottom. Okay, so there's a couple of things that can happen here. If I miss the ball, its Y position will go below -150, and so we're going to do this until, and we want to add an operator here, and we want the less than operator. So let's drop that in there. When I get the white light, I can select it. And what I want is I want the Y position, which is a motion command. Let me see, Y position, there it is. Y position is less than, and then click in here, and when it turns blue, type -150. Okay, so when it hits the bottom, we're going to keep on doing this until it hits the bottom. So what do you want to do until it hits the bottom? Well, you want to keep it moving in the negative direction, but it's already started in a negative direction because we started off right here. So it's pointing in a negative direction. We just want to move it 5 steps, okay? And if 5 steps is too slow, you can always go in and change this number. So that's going to be a motion, and we're going to put this in here. We're going to change the 10 to 5. And if we hit the edge over here or over here, we want it to bounce off. So if it's coming down like this and it hits the edge, then it's going to bounce off. Okay, so we want to, that's going to be another motion command. If on edge, we want to bounce. Okay, and then if that happens, we are going to end the game. So apparently you only get one shot at the ball here. The first time you miss it, the game is over. So that's another control command, and stop all. Okay, now let's try to run it. Okay, and we haven't taken into account the bounce part yet, so it just stops when it hits the bottom. Now we're on step 8 on page 41. To make the ball react to the bat, start a new script with when I receive. So we're on the ball, we've got the ball selected, and we want an event, and we want when I receive, and the only message we've got right now is bounce. So that's already in there by default. And what we want to do is we want to, first of all, we want to make sure that it is up above the bat here, the paddle. So we're going to set its Y value to -120, which will make sure that it's above here. So that is going to be a motion command, and we want to choose set Y to, and click on the 0 there, and let's do -120. So this is -150, the center, and the positions always refer to the center of the sprite. So if I put this at -120, it's going to be just a little bit above here, and that is probably the point where it just looks like the bottom of it is touching the top of my paddle. So then what we have to do is we have to turn it around, make it bounce off. Okay, and so what we have to do is do another point in direction, and this one's a little bit tricky here. To get something to bounce off, what we have to do is we have to subtract it from 180. Okay, and you know, if you don't understand the geometry behind that, you might just want to take some examples and try drawing some angles where something bounces off a wall or bounces off a paddle, and measure the angles and the directions, and see if this works or not, and trust me, it will. So what we want is 180 minus. We want minus here, and we want 180. Got to click in there to make it blue, and then type 180 minus, and then the motion is the Y direction. Actually, just the direction, it's not Y. So drop that in there. And now let's go ahead and run it. Oh, I missed it. As slow as it was moving, I'm not sure how I managed to do that. But, okay, so now move the paddle over. The ball did not start at 0, 0. Okay, now that's clearly too easy. Okay, so we'll stop it. You can, if you want to make that more interesting, you can move it 5 steps, or move it something greater than 5 steps. Okay, so we have just tried it out, and for some reason, I've got the ball selected here. The first item in the script for the ball is go to 0, 0, and maybe I have to stop it first and then go here. No, it does not go to 0, 0, and I'm not sure why. My instruction appears to be correct. Either there's something I don't know about Scratch, or there's a little bug in Scratch here. So that's the end of page 41. So we'll end the video, and then we'll continue on page 42.